Energy bills are set to rise by 10% tomorrow. Our financial expert Claer Barrett joins me now. What can we do? Is there anything that we can do?
Yes, it's meter reading day today. Okay, so 10 million of us were on energy tariffs that are linked to what's called the energy price cap, which means our unit rate will go up from 10% tomorrow. So if you haven't got a smart meter, your energy company is going to estimate your bills, so get your reading in today to make sure they're accurate and that you're not overpaying at that higher rate.
Jeez, 10%'s a lot, it really is. Now, look, you're opening a fraud clinic. We've talked about scams a lot, haven't we? But new laws are going to be introduced next week. I know you've been campaigning hard for this. Hopefully, it will make it more difficult for these people.
It will make it more difficult for scammers, but crucially, it will make it easier for us to get our money back when we have been scammed. Because at the moment, Lorraine, it's a total lottery. Some banks are really good at refunding their customers if they fall victim to what's called push payment fraud, when we're tricked, we're deceived into transferring money into a scammer's account. But other banks have a really poor record. So from next Monday, when the new rules come in, automatic reimbursement. If you've been scammed up to £85,000, unless your bank can say that you've been grossly negligent, you will get the money back into your account within 5 working days, ending this awful process of having to argue with your bank, prove that you've done enough. People are so worried about falling victim to scammers. You know, they worry if they've done enough. That's going to end that uncertainty. Within 5 days, money back, a good thing.
Good. And that's a lot better than the current system, obviously, isn't it?
It is, unless you're scammed for a very large or a very small amount. So not very many people are scammed for more than £85,000, but if they are, from next week, they'll have to go through the financial ombudsman to raise a claim, and that will take longer to get their money back, although it is free. And then the very small amounts. Now, the banks are worried that we'll drop our guard as consumers. So some of them, but not all of them, are thinking about applying a £100 excess charge to people who make a claim to get their money back. Now, when you consider that around a third of all push payment fraud is for amounts of less than £100, that's an awful lot of customers who aren't going to be protected, depending on what their bank's policy is. So it's never been more important, frankly, who you bank with. I've spoken to all of the banks. Many of them haven't decided yet, but the ones who have said they're not going to apply these charges, a big thumbs up to TSB, Nationwide, Virgin Bank, Yorkshire Bank, Clydesdale Bank and AIB. Metro Bank has said it will apply the charges. I expect more will announce that in coming days. NatWest says it might do, but it will depend on the circumstances of the individual claim. So expect to be contacted by your bank telling you what their position is before next Monday.
And that will not be a scam. Hopefully.
Well, yes, because
just be careful.
You do have to be careful because the scammers are already trying to capitalise on this. We've seen a fake NatWest website trying to fish our details, get people to put in their details so that they can benefit from the new fraud rules. Please do not click and give your details on anything like this. It's absolute rubbish. You don't need to register your details. Be very vigilant for ticket scams. There's lots of those going around at the moment, and I expect the banks will get a lot angrier more publicly in future about social media platforms, because they're where a lot of these scams and frauds are originating.
So we need to be really careful on social media, don't we? That's the other thing as well. You just have to it's terrible to think that you have to always be on your guard, but we really do.
Better to get your money back more quickly in future. And don't forget 159, the universal number to get through to the fraud department of your bank. When my phone and my cards were stolen earlier this year, I found 159 super useful to get through to banks.
And that's all you do? You just dial 159?
Yeah, and say who you bank with, you get through.
OK. Now, I hate to say this, because I know it'll really annoy everybody, but we are talking about Christmas already.
We are.
Yeah.
Only 2 more paydays left until Christmas. So the fireplace.
It's back.
Let's throw some money on it to burn and keep us warm. But a really good way to save money, cashback sites. If you haven't explored them, now there's a bit of a caveat here, because obviously if they tempt you to spend more money to get some cash back, that's not a good thing. But ahead of the gifting season, when we're all buying lots of extra things anyway, Top Cashback and Quidco, they're the 2 biggest ones in the UK, well worth looking into. It's not just gifts and shopping, groceries, even changing energy provider, buying your insurance, well worth having a look at. But I also have a trick of my own.
Go on then.
So I've got what I call a Christmas box. I'm not going to reveal where it is in my house in case any family members are tempted to look, but all throughout the year I buy presents for people when I see them, especially when things are on offer, and we're starting to get Christmas gifts in the shops now.
And 2 for 1 and all that.
Exactly.
Yes.
Stash them away in the box so I don't forget and overbuy nearer the time. And my top tip at the moment is books. There's a lot of really good deals in the bookshops on books at the moment. Great gifts to give away for Christmas. And if you're very careful, you've still got time as the nights draw in, so perhaps read the interesting book that you've bought for
and then give
your
it
family
on.
member, and then give it to them.
Ah, it sounds good. I like that.
I wouldn't mind if you did that to me.
So you're kind of organised. My Auntie Carol does that. She's getting them all bought, wrapped up in the cupboard by July. Happy days.
Well, that's a bit extreme.
But it's very organised, isn't it? It really is. Claire, thank you. Thank you for that.